You awake in the muck of a 14th century alley, the air thick with the stench of rotting straw and despair. Your stomach gnaws like a feral dog, and your only possession is a pair of trembling legs scarred from years of scraping by. The world around you is a grey blur of hunger and frost where survival is a blade's edge. You're not a hero, not a knight, just a shadow with nothing to lose eyeing the baker's cart across the square, its crusty loaves whispering promises of life. Stealing isn't a dream. It's a necessity born from a world that chews up the poor and spits out bones. You tie a ragged cloth over your face, not for mystery, but to hide the shame in your eyes. The village hums with danger dogs that snarl doors that creak like accusations and eyes that judge from every window. One wrong step and you're not just a thief, you're a marked man, your fate sealed by a hot iron or a mob's wrath. Yet as you crouch in the shadows, heart pounding like a war drum, you feel alive, the thrill of survival sparking in your veins. Will you snatch the bread and run or hesitate and starve? The choice is yours, but the night is cruel and the cold bites deeper than any blade. You stand at the edge of the village, the wind carrying the scent of frost and failure. The harvest withered months ago, leaving fields barren and your belly hollow. Your lord demands taxes, your last chicken, your tattered cloak, the last shred of your dignity. Honest work. A cruel jest. 14 hours breaking your back in frozen mud earned you a potato and a sneer. It'd be a sermon about your sinful soul. The baker's purse jingles across the square, heavy with coin, unguarded for a heartbeat. Your fingers itch not for greed, but for survival. Stealing isn't rebellion. It's the math of a world that starves the weak. You've seen others try the straight path, bent under ploughs, coughing blood, dead by winter's end. The market buzzes with life, but its a trap eyes everywhere, and a single misstep brands you forever. Yet as you watch the baker turn away, a forbidden heat stirs in your chest, desperation laced with defiance. You could take it, run live another day, or you could kneel, beg, and fade into the mud. The choice burns like a fever, and the night waits for no one. You toil under the merciless sun, your back cracking like dry branches with each swing of the scythe, the sweat tracing fiery paths down your skin then, mingling with the dirt to form a second gritty hide. 14 hours stretch before you, an endless grind of mud and muscle, your hands blistered and raw fingers aching for something, anything beyond this drudgery. The Lord's overseer watches with a predatory gleam, his whip coiled like a serpent ready to lash out at the slightest falter, drawing blood that freezes in the evening chill. You dream of honest pay, but it comes as a meagre potato, its skin wrinkled like an old crone's, or a handshake slick with deceit, promising exposure in the afterlife if you slave hard enough. Meanwhile, across the field, the baker's stall beckons his coin purse bulging obscenely unattended in a moment of carelessness. Your pulse quickens, a forbidden heat building in your core, imagining the weight of that gold in your palm, the rush of power. You could bring a stolen kiss in the shadows perhaps with a village maiden, whose eyes linger too long on your scarred form. But the intrigue whispers one theft, and you're entangled in a web of betrayal, your fellow labourers turning on you for a scrap of favour. A supernatural chill creeps in rumours of cursed coins that summon wraiths to drag thieves to hell. You weigh the violence of starvation against the savagery of the lash. Will you endure the grind or seize the purse and ignite a brutal chase through the thorns, blood and desire fueling your escape? The choice hangs heavy like the overseer's gaze, promising either slow death or a fierce fleeting life. You snatch a loaf from the cart, its warm crust breaking under your fingers like fragile bone, the aroma stirring a primal hunger that borders on ecstasy, your mouth watering with forbidden anticipation. But in this merciless world that's theft, pure damning and swift, an apple tumbles from a vendor's load and you scoop it up, its juice bursting on your tongue like a lover's kiss in the dead of night, yet the cry rings out, "Thief!" You chase a stray chicken through the mud, feathers flying in a chaotic dance, accidentally crossing into another's garden, and suddenly you're accused of trespass, and a shadowy poultry conspiracy whispers of betrayal spreading like venom through the village. The mob gathers pitchforks, glinting with violent intent, ready to carve judgment into your flesh. Once marked, you're that kind of pariah, your every glance met with suspicion, gossip racing faster than a cursed wind, memories clinging like spectral chains. You feel the intrigue thicken a neighbour's envious eye, a rival's false accusation to claim your meagre plot. Supernatural dread looms tales of thieves haunted by the ghosts of stolen souls, their wails echoing in the night. Violence erupts in the square, a brutal brawl over scraps, fists cracking ribs, blood freezing on the cobblestones. You crave a heated embrace to drown the fear, but even that carries risk, a sensual stolen moment turning to betrayal under watchful eyes. The line between survival and damnation blurs. One toe in the mud and you're drowned in it forever. Hunted your defiance a spark in the dark. You steel yourself in the dim twilight, muscles coiled like a predator's, the rag mask clinging to your face like a lover's desperate embrace, its rough fabric scratching your skin and heightening the electric thrill pulsing through your veins. Limber and driven by a gnawing hunger that borders on savage lust, you scan for a mark, but the village mocks you. Huts of mud and despair, peasants clutching their meagre scraps with frost-nipped fingers, no glittering hoards to tempt your blade. A bulging pouch catches your eye in the market haze, promising riches, yet it yields only turnip seeds, and a desiccated mouse your prize, a bitter jest of rodent flesh and futile risk. The air thickens with intrigue. Whispers of a hidden cache in the miller's loft, guarded by a treacherous apprentice eyeing his master's wife with forbidden desire. You imagine the violence, a swift knife in the dark blood warm on your hands like a carnal release, but the hanging noose sways in your mind, a spectral warning, perhaps cursed by woodland spirits that lure thieves to thorny graves. Nobles loom in distant castles, their gold a siren call, but fortified by snarling hounds and sadistic guards eager for sport. You weigh the sensuality of success, a stolen jewel pressed against your chest, its cool fire igniting dreams of heated nights against the brutality of failure, ribs shattering under boots in a moonlit chase. The night dares you forward a web of desire and doom where one bold grasp could crown you or crush you eternally. You creep toward the noble's manor under a veil of mist, the air charged with forbidden allure, your heart racing like a stolen caress in the shadows, imagining the weight of gold against your skin, a sensual plunder that could buy nights of heated passion amid silken sheets. But the fortress bristles with peril, towering walls patrolled by guards whose eyes gleam with cruel hunger, their swords thirsty for intruder blood, and massive hounds that lunge with visceral fury teeth, sinking into flesh like a lover's bite turned savage. Robbing them is folly akin to thrusting a torch into a wasp's nest, the swarm descending in a storm of stings and slashes, your screams echoing as boots crush bones in a brutal dance of retribution. The clergy tempts next, their chalices gleaming like unholy desires in candlelit sanctums, silver crosses begging to be claimed, but locked doors bar the way, and divine wrath looms, a curse that twists your guts, shadows whispering of eternal flames licking your soul. Town gossip spreads faster than plague, your sin known by midday villagers turning with pitchforks in a frenzy of righteous violence, perhaps a priest's incantation summoning spectral guardians to drag you into the abyss. Intrigue weaves through the pews, a corrupt monk hoarding relics, his secret affair with a novice fueling blackmail whispers, but exposure means betrayal, a knife in the confessional or a noose blessed by holy hands. You feel the pull of supernatural dread, graves stirring with restless dead if you dare desecrate their icy fingers clutching your throat in the night. The choice burns, seize the sacred shine and risk a maelstrom of blood and damnation, or slink away hunger gnawing deeper than any wound. You slink into the moonlit cemetery, the earth soft and yielding under your boots like a lover's whisper, but the air hums with forbidden energy, graves stirring as if the dead sense your intrusion, their spectral fingers brushing your neck in chilling anticipation. Medieval burial grounds are no vaults of treasure, just chaotic pits of bones and regret where you shovel through hours of dirt only to unearth rocks and a furious mole, its beady eyes glinting with accusation. The allure of a buried ring or coin draws you deeper, but exhumation invites horrors, whispers of dark magic clinging to you like a curse, villagers branding you a necromancer, their torches flaring in a mob's violent frenzy, pitchforks thrusting with savage intent. Intrigue coils in the shadows, a rival thief eyeing the same plot ready to betray you with a knife in the back for a share of the meagre spoils, or a priest's hidden relic that pulses with supernatural power summoning wraiths to drag you into the void. Violence erupts if caught bones cracking under boots in a brutal beating, blood mingling with grave soil as the crowd descends, their rage fueled by fear of the unholy. Yet the sensuality of the forbidden pulls you a stolen artifact warm against your skin, promising heated nights of passion bought with cursed gold. The night dares you to dig a web of desire and doom where one misplaced spade could unleash a storm of betrayal and eternal damnation. You glide through the marketplace, shadows your body, a vessel of desperation, but the air betrays you, a pungent aura of boiled onions and goat sweat enveloping you like a treacherous cloak, every breath a giveaway in the still night. Hygiene is a distant luxury. Baths are myths for the wealthy soap, a rare jewel, and your shirt stuffed with wilted herbs mimics a wandering garden, yet it only amplifies the reek, drawing suspicious glances like moths to a flame. Thieves dwell in squalor haystacks, sticky with dew, alleys slick with filth, or under-snorting pigs whose warmth hides the visceral grime seeping into your pores, turning you into a barnyard phantom. The sensuality of the hunt twists cruelly. A stolen glance at a maiden, her eyes widening not in desire, but disgust, as your scent precedes you, a forbidden heat dashed by revulsion. Intrigue lurks in the crowd, a rival catching your odour, trailing you for betrayal, or a guard's hound fixated on your trail of mould and regret. Violence simmers, a sudden chase, your heavy wool trappings sweat like a cursed embrace lung, burning as fists connect in a brutal scuffle, ribs cracking under the weight of discovery. Supernatural dread whispers of spirits repelled by your unclean soul, cursing you to eternal wandering. You creep closer, but they sense you not by footfall, but by the invisible crime of your essence, a warning sign scrawled in sweat and shadow dooming your stealth to failure. You cling to the same ragged tunic day after day, its threads frayed like the edges of your sanity, the fabric heavy with the ghosts of past heists' chimney soot. Blackening your sleeves, fish stall brine seeping into every fibre, creating a living shroud that pulses with its own foul life. This isn't mere clothing, it's a traitor absorbing the marketplace's chaos. The barnyard's muck until it develops a personality sharper than any blade clearing. Their paths, not through stealth but sheer revulsion. Villagers wrinkling noses as you pass their eyes, watering from the assault. Your job demands frenzy, sprinting through thorn-laced alleys, your woolen garb trapping sweat like a lover's possessive grasp, each leap and crouch igniting a fire in your muscles, the odour blooming into a miasma of sweat mould and regret that trails you like a cursed shadow. Sensuality twists in the torment, a heated flush under the layers, imagining a stolen embrace where the grime adds a raw forbidden edge, but reality bites. Guards need no hounds following your scent trail of bad choices, their boots thundering closer. Intrigue simmers among rivals, one sniffing out your weakness, betraying you for a share of spoils in a knife-flashing ambush. Violence erupts in the chase fists, pounding flesh bones, cracking like dry twigs under the weight of pursuit, blood mixing with the sweat-soaked wool. Supernatural whispers haunt spirits offended by your unclean form, summoning fog-bound wraiths to drag you into eternal filth. You are a scent crime incarnate, your every move, a betrayal of stealth dooming you to exposure in a world that smells your defeat before it sees you. You freeze in the fog-shrouded yard, heart hammering like a war drum, as the beast stirs a wiry mongrel with scars etching its hide like battle trophies, eyes glowing with feral malice, its name whispered in dread, Chopper or Bitey, a creature forged in the smithy of gout-riddled tempers and unending vigilance. These aren't the pampered pups of tales, but traitorous guardians, teeth, bared in a soul that promises visceral agony, every village hovel boasting one a cheap sentinel, more loyal than kin, barking at shadows with dramatic fury. Stealth crumbles under their assault. A twig snaps and the night erupts in chaos, their howl, piercing the mist like a lover's betrayed scream, alerting the household to your desperate quest for a wheel of cheese. Sensuality mocks you, a fleeting dream of warmth by a fire, but reality charges. The dog explodes across the mud, fangs flashing your legs, pumping in frantic escape, slipping on cabbage leaves, buckets clattering in a symphony of failure. Intrigue breeds in their grudges. Rob once in spring, and months later the same hound ambushes you at the alehouse, teeth sinking deep blood hot and mingling with the dirt. Violence defines the encounter yellowed, canines tearing flesh, your screams echoing as the beast pins you, ribs protesting under its weight. Supernatural lore whispers of dogs as spirit wards their bark, summoning ancestral ghosts to hound thieves eternally. Townsfolk adore them more than family. A bark seals your fate, pitchforks rising in a mob's savage chorus, no bribes or pleas availing against their unyielding hatred. Your legs, mere chew toys in their eyes, propel you into the night, but escape is illusion. Their memory eternal, your doom fur-clad and relentless. You gasp as the hound's jaws clamp down teeth, piercing flesh with a searing heat that borders on savage intimacy. Blood welling hot and sticky, the pain a visceral reminder of betrayal in a world where loyalty is sharper than any blade. These medieval beasts hold grudges like vengeful elders, their memories etched in scars and snarls. Pilfer a loaf in blooming spring. And by harvest's chill, the same cur lurks at the tavern's edge, eyes burning with unresolved fury, launching into a frenzy of bites and barks that tear at your heels like forgotten sins resurfacing. Townsfolk cherish them more than blood kin, weaving tales of heroic hounds over fireside whispers, their devotion a shield against the shadows you inhabit. A single bark ignites the night villagers spilling from huts' pitchforks, raised in a mob's brutal symphony, no questions asked, just the priest summoned to absolve the impending violence. Intrigue festers in their ranks, a rival thief bribing the innkeeper to loosen the dog's chain, setting a trap of teeth and treachery for your downfall. Sensuality mocks in the chaos, a fleeting dream of warmth beside a loyal companion twisted into nightmare as fangs rend your skin, the metallic tang of blood mingling with sweat in a carnal clash. Supernatural dread lingers, dogs as vessels for ancestral spirits, their howls summoning ghosts to hound you eternally across misty moors. You can't bribe their unyielding hearts reason with their primal rage, or outpace their tireless pursuit. To them, you're an invader. Your limbs are mere playthings in a game of savage retribution, the community rallying behind their furry sentinels with pitchforks and prayers. You eye the unbolted door, its wooden slab a deceptive invitation in the moon's pale glow, creaking like the wail of damned souls as you push the sound, a thunderous betrayal echoing through the night, shattering your stealth in a cascade of noise louder than a cathedral's tolling bells. Locks are luxuries for abbeys and gates hoarding relics like saintly scraps, but peasants craft hostility from necessity, bells strung on taut threads inside jingling like accusatory laughter, at your touch, rousing the household in a frenzy of cries and chaos. A babe's wail joining the dog's savage bark, someone bellowing for the pitchfork in bloodthirsty glee. Improvised perils abound, buckets teetering overhead, spilling icy water in a shocking deluge that chills your bones and slicks the floor or twigs scattered, like brittle bones crunching underfoot with the fury of enraged spirits. In wilder hamlets, farm tools lurk, sharp and low beams hung to crack skulls or a mat woven from hedgehog spines, pricking flesh in 1,000 stinging kisses of pain. Sensuality twists cruelly, a dream of slipping into warmth, foiled by these traps brutal embrace your skin, torn and bloodied in a carnal tangle. Intrigue whispers of a villager's secret, a hidden lever triggering a cascade of stones born from paranoia over lost heirlooms. Violence erupts if sprung limbs, entangled bones snapping, under improvised weights the family descending with ladles, wielded like clubs cracking ribs in righteous fury. Supernatural lore haunts doors warded by charms, awakening ethereal guardians to drag intruders into shadowy realms. No welcome here, just a dare etched in wood and wire. Try it and face the storm of peasant ingenuity where survival demands savagery, and every entry a gamble with doom. You approach the courtyard under cover of darkness, the air thick with the scent of feathers and earth, your pulse quickening like a forbidden tryst, but the chickens shatter. The illusion nervous, bundles of shrieking chaos erupting at your slightest movement in a whirlwind of flaps and cackles that mimic a demon's chorus, alerting the entire village in a frenzy of noise. These aren't passive foul, they're volatile sentinels, their beady eyes piercing the gloom, exploding into pandemonium that draws armed peasants from their beds, pitchforks gleaming with violent promise. Deeper in the geese await like unholy enforcers fusing alarm with assault, their honks a thunderous challenge, as they charge with beaks snapping like vengeful blades, wings battering your face in a storm of feathers and fury, their grudges eternal, pursuing you across the mud with relentless savagery. Sensuality twists in the absurdity, a dream of plucking a warm egg, turning to carnal struggle, your skin grazed by beaks in heated clashes. Intrigue feathers the flock arrival, poisoning the feed to silence them, but betrayal backfires in louder bedlam. Violence defines the encounter, beaks piercing flesh, blood spurting as you fend off the onslaught, bones crunching if they pin you down. Supernatural whispers claim geese as spirit guardians, their cries summoning woodland wraiths to curse intruders with eternal pursuit. The lack of locks isn't hospitality. It's a taunt etched in beak and claw, dare the threshold and face the feathered-tipped fury of peasant defences, where every step invites a savage reckoning. You slip past the creaking door, the hut's interior, a labyrinth of shadows and snores. But true slumber is a myth in this brutal era. Families lie like vigilant squirrels, half awake in anxious haze, one ear tuned to the night's perils, gripping sharpened tools that promise swift visceral retribution. Life here is a savage arena, bandits lurking plagues whispering, death taxes like thieves in the fog, wild boars charging through dreams turn nightmares so they rest in shifts, eyes slitted against the dark hands clutching fireplace pokers or ladles, honed to crack skulls, their edges glinting with lethal intent. Parents huddle with kin in centralized piles, not from tender bonds, but defensive strategy, a human fortress where betrayal could come from within a jealous sibling's whisper, sparking intrigue. Sensuality haunts the closeness, bodies rest in straw warmth, a forbidden brush of skin, igniting sparks amid the fear, but violence looms larger, a stirred sleeper lunging with pitchfork ribs, splintering in the clash. Supernatural dread infuses the air, ancestral spirits guarding the hearth, cursing intruders with eternal unrest. Houses are single chambers, straw mats shared with snoring goats and churning butter, every step a minefield of obstacles, your footfalls risking a cousin's toe or a clattering pot. You're no shadow. You're a blunderer in a ninja's gauntlet. The family's light sleep, a web of savagery ready to ensnare and shred your hopes in a storm of steel and suspicion. You navigate the hut's gloom, every creak of the floorboards a thunderous betrayal splintering the silence like a lover's gasp in forbidden passion, the sputtering hearth casting flickering shadows that dance like accusing spirits while a sleeper mumbles incoherently, their words twisting into shouts of "You stole my pies!" in fevered realms, jolting the family upright in a whirlwind of chaos and steel. No deep slumber graces these weary souls. They merely dim their vigilance, primed for the morrow's grind, a floorboard's groan at odd hours, not mere sound but a clarion call to violence, pitchforks thrusting ladles, swinging to crack skulls and savage defence, blood spilling hot and sticky on the straw. Sensuality lurks in the intimacy of shared breaths, a brush of skin in the huddle, igniting sparks of desire amid the dread, but intrigue poisons it, a family member's secret grudge, whispering accusations to turn kin against you in betrayal's blade. Violence erupts, visceral and unflinching ribs, shattering under frantic blows, the air thick with grunts and cries as they swarm no mercy in their half-awake fury. Supernatural threads weave through ancestral wraiths, stirred by the noise, cursing the intruder with eternal nightmares of pursuit. The soundscape is a minefield, every mutter, every flame's pop a potential doom, transforming your stealthy raid into a brutal melee, where survival demands you strike first fierce and unforgiving or flee into the unforgiving night. You kneel in the square's mud, the constable's iron glowing, red hot like a demon's kiss, its heat radiating a promise of agony that sears your soul before it touches flesh. The crowd's murmurs swelling into a chorus of judgment as the brand presses in, skin sizzling and popping. In visceral torment, the scent of charred meat mingling with your screams. This isn't redemption. It's eternal marking a T for thief scorched into your cheek, or a V for vagabond across your brow, a sizzling stripe of cruelty born from abundant sadism, not justice but portable shame, a scar tissue badge declaring, "Hi, I steal things," to every passer-by, their eyes hardening with disdain. Once branded life crumbles, no job offers, Come inns, bar their doors, even buying a carrot draws nervous glares and inventory checks your existence, a web of isolation and betrayal. Intrigue festers in the execution. A drunken blacksmith wielding the iron with sloppy zeal, or a priest botching it from half-remembered texts that result a mangled mess like a fireplace brawl etched on your face. Violence escalates for recidivists. Fresh brands in tender spots, fingers lopped in bloody sprays. Half your head shaved in humiliating mockery, the medieval equivalent of public evisceration. Sensuality perverts the pain, a twisted heat blooming under the iron, echoing forbidden desires crushed by societal chains. Supernatural dread clings the brand, a curse magnet drawing wraiths to whisper eternal accusations in your ear. Caught once and you're not reformed, you're a walking wound judged even by goats, your defiance branded out in fire and flesh. You stagger back into the square, the brand scar throbbing like a lover's heated mark gone wrong, its raised flesh, a constant reminder of your fall. But temptation coils anew, a sensual whisper of gold and survival pulling you toward another shadowed heist, only to be caught again. The mob's eyes gleaming with creative malice. Heaven forbid a second offence. Now they innovate with sadistic flair branding. Fresh territories, your hand, your thigh. The iron's kiss searing deeper smoke curling like forbidden incense as skin yields in agonizing pops or lopping fingers with a butcher's cleaver. Blood arcing in visceral sprays, each severed digit, a trophy of your defiance. They shave half your head in mocking asymmetry, a public takedown rivaling the sting of whispered betrayals, your lopsided skull a beacon for ridicule, children pointing and laughing as you stink through alleys. Intrigue thrives in the punishment. A constable's grudge fueling extra lashes, or a priest's holy fervour twisting the blade, alliances shifting like shadows in a web of village politics. Violence blooms, unflinching bones cracking under improvised tools, the crowd's cheers drowning your cries in a symphony of savagery. Sensuality perverts the ordeal, the iron's heat echoing carnal fires, a twisted desire amid the pain drawing you back to the edge. Supernatural curses cling repeated marks inviting wraiths to feast on your soul, their icy touches promising eternal torment. The system claims order, but it's a canvas for cruelty, each recurrence escalating the brutality of your body, a map of misdeeds forever altered in fire and blade. You dangle in the villagers' grasp, their fingers digging like claws into your arms, the air thick with the scent of sweat and fury as the mob swells a chaotic court of neighbours, urchins and zealots, their shouts building like a storm. No lawyers summoned, just the raw pulse of collective rage ignited by a slippery claim near a pilfered pie. Innocence. A quaint notion centuries distant. You're guilty at the first cry of "that's him." Bonus condemnation if your rags are torn or your gaze too wild. The trial a whirlwind of grabs and yells escalating to hurled debris. Shoes cracking against your skull, turnips bursting in juicy impacts. Even a goat flung in unpredictable frenzy. Tied to the post you endure their tirades. Each village airing grievances like poisoned arrows, evidence as flimsy as mist verdict. Sealed by the loudest bellows sentence, a tapestry of invention. Public shaming in stocks, your body contorted in cramps and exposure or a beating with fists and feet pounding flesh in visceral rhythm. Ribs yielding with sickening snaps. Dunked in the river's icy embrace, water choking your lungs as they chant confess the current, essential torrent turned torment. Intrigue festers, Marjorie's old grudge over glanced geese fueling false testimony alliances shifting in whispers of betrayal. Violence reigns, unflinching blood flowing from split lips, bones fracturing under the onslaught. Supernatural dread looms the mob, channeling ancestral wrath curses, binding your fate to eternal unrest. No appeals, just shouts drowned in harder throes. Justice seeks not truth but catharsis, vast and ferocious, leaving you broken in their wake. You sump into the wooden frame ankles and wrists locked in unyielding grips, your body twisted like a discarded puppet in the village square. The stock's no gentle reflection, but a stage for medieval spectacle, where you're the unwilling star in a pageant of cramps and contempt far from quiet penance. Hours stretch into days under merciless skies, rain sluicing down your back in chilling rivulets. Snow biting like icy fangs, pigeons perching on your head in feathered mockery, their droppings a warm, foul caress amid the cold. But the true torment comes from the crowd villagers egged on to jeer with inventive cruelty, hurling rotten produce that splats against your skin in viscous bursts, manure smearing your face in humiliating streaks, children giggling as they pelt you with whatever vile debris lies at hand. That's the sausage stealer. Echoes through the throng, followed by a stale link cracking against your brow blood, trickling from the impact. Sensuality perverts the ordeal, the stock's restraint, echoing forbidden bonds. A twisted desire amid the pain, but violence interrupts thrown stones, bruising flesh ribs aching from the barrage. Intrigue whispers among spectators, a rival slipping poison into your meagre rations, or a sympathetic ally sneaking bread, only to rob it back in ironic theft. Supernatural dread cling stalks curse to summon mocking spirits, their laughter eternal in your ears. Long-term scars linger, numb limbs, a hunched gait, folk songs composed of your folly echoing in taverns. Survival here demands endurance, but the humiliation brands deeper than any iron, your spirit fractured in the public gaze. You stand stripped to the waist in the bustling square, ropes binding your wrist to the post like a lover's possessive embrace gone savage, the air humming with anticipation as the executioner uncoils his whip, its leather strands glinting under the sun, promising a mercy that's anything but gentle, flogging a lesser doom than the noose, yet a symphony of fire and blood. The lashes vary by whim a dozen for petty theft scores, for bolder crimes, each crack echoing like thunder, the whip slicing skin in fiery lines, flesh parting, with visceral pops, blood streaming hot and sticky down your back, mingling with sweat in a carnal torrent of agony. The crowd cheers the spectacle, their eyes alight with righteous fury, children wide-eyed at the brutality as your screams blend with the whip's song ribs protesting under the force bones threatening to shatter in the onslaught. Sensuality twists cruelly the whip's sting, echoing forbidden passions. A heated flush amid the torment drawing you into a haze of endurance. Intrigue coils in the shadows, a bribed flogger easing his hand, or a rival, ensuring extra zeal through whispered bribes alliances, fracturing in betrayal's sting. Violence defines the right skin-flayed raw muscles, convulsing in savage rhythm, the air thick with the metallic tang of your essence. Supernatural whispers haunt lashes, invoking ancestral curses, wraiths feasting on your pain to bind eternal scars. Deemed merciful, it's a brutal reprieve, leaving you scarred and humbled, your defiance whipped into submission. The square's echoes a reminder of survival's cost. You burst from the hut, heart slamming like a blacksmith's hammer, the stolen pouch clutched against your chest, its weight a tantalizing promise of heated nights and forbidden feasts. But the village awakens in a roar, doors banging open as pursuers spill forth their torches, casting demonic shadows on the mud-slick streets. Footwear betrays you ragged, souls slipping on the filth each step, a treacherous slide through puddles of waste and despair, your lungs burning with the acrid scent of smoke and sweat. Alleys twist into dead ends, walls looming like judgmental sentinels, forcing desperate vaults over fences that snag your flesh thorns, drawing blood in stinging kiss. Sensuality mocks in the chase adrenaline, surging like a lover's rush muscles straining in carnal exertion. But violence crashes down guards' clubs, whistling through the air, cracking against your ribs with bone-jarring force, blood blooming hot under your skin. Intrigue shadows the flight, a fellow thief lurking in the gloom, ready to trip you for a share of the spoils, betrayal's knife flashing in the torchlight. Supernatural Bried pursues whispers of cursed streets, summoning fog-bound wraiths to clutch at your ankles, dragging you into eternal mire. Your questionable stamina falters, breaths ragged, as the mob closes pitchforks, thrusting with savage intent the getaway. No clean escape, but a brutal gauntlet of slip strikes and survival's raw edge. You flee into the open fields, the village's clamour fading behind, but the countryside offers no sanctuary, vast expanses exposing your silhouette against the moonlit horizon, every rustle in the wheat a potential ambush, your breaths heavy with the earthy scent of soil and fear. Hedges snag like jealous lovers, thorns raking your skin in bloody trails, while ditches swallow your feet in sucking mud, slowing your desperate sprint to a slog of exhaustion. Local knowledge turns against you, farmers' shortcuts known only to them flanking you with ease, their calls echoing like hunting horns closing the net with relentless precision. Violence erupts in the wilds, pitchforks stabbing from the shadows, bones crunching under improvised weapons, blood freezing on the frost-kissed grass as you grapple in savage tussles. Sensuality twists in the pursuit, the heated flush of exertion muscles coiling in primal rhythm, a forbidden thrill amid the peril. Intrigue lurks among the pursuers, a villager's secret grudge fueling extra zeal or a rival thief joining the chase to claim your loot in betrayal's grasp. Supernatural elements haunt the chase woodland spirits awakened by your trespass, their whispers summoning ghostly hounds to nip at your heels eternally. The mob swells with community fury, neighbours arming for the hunt, their shouts a chorus of condemnation turning the serene fields into a battlefield of betrayal and brutality, where escape demands cunning or carnage. You huddle in the fated tavern's corner, the air thick with ale's sour tang and unwashed bodies, your hideout a den of shadows where fellow thieves slink like wary predators, their eyes glinting with unspoken treachery, alliances fragile as cracked glass. These aren't loyal comrades, they're opportunists ready to sell your secrets for a crust or a pardon, a whispered betrayal in the night leading to a knife between ribs, blood spilling hot and betrayal sharp in the dim light. Infighting erupts over scraps, a brutal scuffle for a stolen coin. Fists cracking jaws, bones splintering in visceral crunches as egos clash in savage dominance. Sensuality lurks in the tension-heated glances across the room, promising fleeting alliances sealed in carnal whispers, but desire twists into danger, a lover's embrace hiding a dagger's kiss. Intrigue defines the lair plots hatched against the guards, but one among you informs for favour, turning the sanctuary into a trap sprung with mob violence. Supernatural dread haunts the walls, cursed relics from botched heists, summoning wraiths that whisper accusations, driving paranoia into frenzy. Your antics draw unwanted eyes, loud boasts echoing into the street fights, spilling out like blood from wounds, alerting patrols to your nest. Survival demands constant vigilance, but in this web of deceit, every shadow hides a blade, your hideout. No refuge but a powder keg of betrayal and brutality. You descend into the dank pit chains rattling like spectral warnings. The prison a festering wound in the earth's belly walls, slick with moisture and despair, air heavy with the stench of rot and unwashed flesh. No reformatory but a brutal holding pen for the damned. Shared with a motley crew drunkards, belching curses, heretics muttering prayers, murderers eyeing you with predatory hunger. The cell pulses with tension alliances forming in whispers only to shatter in sudden violence, a shank improvised from bones sinking into guts with wet visceral thrusts. Boredom gnaws like hunger days, blurring an endless monotony broken by guards' sadistic games, their boots kicking ribs and casual brutality, blood pooling on the stone. Sensuality perverts the gloom, desperate touches in the dark, seeking fleeting warmth, but desire breeds betrayal, a lover's murmur turning to accusation for a scrap of bread. Intrigue thrives in the shadows, bribes slipping through bars for privileges, a corrupt warden playing favourites, sparking riots where fists fly and bones crack in chaotic frenzy. Supernatural horrors lurk, ghosts of hanged inmates haunting the cells, their wails driving madness, curses binding souls to eternal torment. Escape tempts with risky plots, but failure means the lash, or worse your imprisonment, a limbo of savagery and stagnation where time devours hope amid the clank of irons and echoes of despair. You stand on the scaffold's rough planks, the nooses coarse fibres grazing your neck like a lover's fatal caress. The crowd below, a seething mass of faces twisted in anticipation, their cheers a thunderous hunger. For your end, the gallows, a public theatre where death dances slow and inefficient. Hangings are scheduled spectacles, weights stretching days in fetid cells where dread coils tight, your mind replaying sins in fevered loops until the cart rumbles you to the drop, the rope snapping taut with a crack like breaking bone. But often it bungles neck uncracked. You dangle, kicking, gasping in visceral agony as the crowd roars, veins bulging face purpling in a savage display. Violence defines the right, executioners sometimes mercifully pulling legs to hasten the snap bones, shattering in final mercy or botched dropsies, leading to decapitations, blood fountaining hot and shocking the onlookers. Sensuality perverts the horror. The ropes embrace, echoing forbidden bonds. Adrenaline surging in carnal finality amid the terror. Intrigue shadows the platform, a bribed hangman loosening the knot for escape, or a rival ensuring a prolonged choke through whispered sabotage. Supernatural dread looms souls of the hanged, lingering as wraiths cursing the living, with eternal unrest their whispers haunting the gibbet. Bodies swing as warnings rotting in chains, a macabre display of justice's brutality. Your fate a grim reminder that in this world, thievery ends not in glory but in the noose's unforgiving grip. You ponder escape from the thief's grind, the constant shadow of the noose, weighing like a cursed amulet, but retirement is a mocking illusion. No golden years, just desperate pivots to begging in rags, palms outstretched in humiliating plea, or turning straight with backbreaking toil that grinds bones to dust under indifferent lords. Informing offers a treacherous path, whispering secrets to constables for scraps, but betrayal invites savage retribution. Former allies ambushing in alleys, knives plunging deep in visceral sprays of blood, ribs cracking under boots in a frenzy of vengeance. Vanishing into folklore tempts slipping into forests haunted by whispers of spirits living as a hermit amid spectral guardians that lure the unwary to doom, or joining wandering troops where intrigue festers in rivalries over scraps. Sensuality calls in hidden glades stolen moments of passion, with fellow outcasts heated embraces, under starlit canopies, but violence shadows raids by guards, shattering idylls and clashes of steel and bone. Supernatural elements weave through cursed treasures, binding you to eternal thievery. Wraiths of betrayed comrades haunting your dreams with accusatory wails. Power dynamics shift, empowering the marginalized through cunning heists. But failure means the lash, or worse, your legacy, a tale of defiance or damnation. No quiet end awaits. You fade into myth or mud your life, a tapestry of savagery and desire, resilience forged in the fires of unrelenting hardship. You step into the fog-shrouded streets of 19th century Britain, where the Industrial Revolution's roar drowns out the cries of the afflicted, the 1808 County Asylums Act emerging as a beacon of reform promising humane havens for the mad away from the chains of private madhouses and the street's brutal indifference. Visionaries like Philippe Pinel and William Tuke inspire a moral treatment, envisioning asylums as serene retreats with gardens and therapy where the deranged could reclaim their sanity through kindness and routine, a far cry from the era's savage bedlam spectacles. Yet idealism crumbles under reality's weight. What begins as compassionate enclosures swells into warehouses for the inconvenient, the poor, the eccentric, the rebellious women chafing against patriarchal bonds, their spirits caged in the name of cure. Sensuality twists in the shadow, forbidden desires labelled hysteria, a doctor's probing gaze igniting scandals of abuse behind locked doors. Intrigue festers in the corridors, corrupt overseers, pocketing funds meant for care alliances between staff and influential families to silence dissenters with indefinite commitments. Violence lurks beneath the facade, restraints biting into flesh, screams echoing through stone walls as patients clash in frenzied uprisings, bones cracking under orderlies' boots. Supernatural dread haunts the hall's whispers of ghostly inmates, cursed by botched treatments, their wails summoning poltergeists to rattle chains eternally. The asylums rise not as salvation, but as monuments to control, where the line between healer and jailer blurs. In a web of power and despair, your fate sealed by a signature on a commitment paper. You wander the swelling wards of Victorian asylums, once modest sanctuaries ballooning into monolithic prisons, beds crammed into every corner. As the population explodes, thousands herded like cattle, the air thick with the stench of unwashed bodies, and despair reforms promise buckling under the influxes of society's outcasts. Diagnoses blur into vagueness, moral insanity for wayward wives, drapetomania for escaping slave sexism embedding deep as women are confined for excessive desires or defiance, their bodies probed in pseudo-scientific rituals that mask patriarchal control. Overcrowding breeds chaos. Patients stacked in dorms where privacy is a myth. Fights erupting in savage bursts. Fists flying and bones shattering against cold floors. Orderlies wielding clubs to restore brutal order. Sensuality perverts the isolation stolen touches in the jidos, forbidden liaisons between inmates igniting scandals, but exposure leads to harsher restraints, leather biting into skin like a lover's cruel grip. Intrigue thrives in the administration doctors fabricating symptoms to fill quotas, wealthy families bribing for indefinite holds on troublesome heirs, alliances fracturing in whispers of embezzlement. Violence defines the daily grind, cold plunges, drowning screams, electroshocks, convulsing bodies in electric agony. Supernatural elements creep in haunted by the ghosts of over-medicated souls, their apparitions wandering halls cursing the living with eternal madness. What starts as containment devolves into a machine of misuse, where the mad and the merely inconvenient rot together. Resilience forged in the fires of systemic savagery, your voice lost in the cacophony of the damned. You stand before the asylum's iron gates, the clang echoing like a final judgment where diagnoses are woven from pseudoscience and prejudice, female hysteria. A catch-all for women's unrest, their bodies labelled deviant for craving autonomy or succumbing to passion, committed without trial on a doctor's whim or family's word. Commitments require mere signatures, 2 physicians and a relative suffice to strip your freedom. No courtroom drama. Just a carriage ride into oblivion, the afflicted vanishing into the maw of institutional control, their pleas drowned in the rhetoric of care. Sensuality becomes a weapon, a woman's flushed cheeks or restless nights branded as moral failing, leading to invasive treatments that probe and punish hands lingering too long in clinical guise. Intrigue shadows the process. Wealthy patriarchs silencing outspoken daughters with bribes, doctors fabricating symptoms for profit alliances between medics and magistrates weaving a web of entrapment. Violence erupts in resistance patients thrashing against restraints, bones straining as orderlies wrestle them into submission, blood from bitten tongues mixing with tears. Supernatural dread infuses the ward's tales of cursed commitments summoning spirits of the wrongly confined, their ghostly wails echoing through the halls, cursing committers to madness. The system empowers the elite, marginalizing the vulnerable where a whisper of eccentricity seals your fate. Resilience tested in the crucible of arbitrary incarceration. Your voice silenced in the name of sanity. You awaken in the asylum's bowels, the day dictated by iron bells and stern matrons. Routines grinding like millstones rise at dawn for cold ablutions. Meals of watery gruel spooned in silence labour in gardens or laundries where backs bend and spirits break under the weight of enforced normalcy. For the excitable silence reigns supreme, words forbidden, lest they stir unrest. Conversations clipped by the watchful eyes, the air thick with unspoken yearnings and suppressed cries. Cells shared with the desperate rats scurrying like shadows of madness. Straw beds infested with vermin that bite like accusations. The walls etched with frantic scratches from those who came before. Sensuality simmers, forbidden stolen glances between inmates, igniting sparks of desire. A brush of hands in the laundry evoking heated whispers, but discovery brings savage reprisals, restraints binding wrists in cruel embraces. Intrigue festers in the hierarchy, orderlies trading favours for Tuanen. Patience plotting escapes through whispered conspiracies, betrayals leading to solitary confinement's abyss. Violence punctuates the monotony outbursts met with force, fists and clubs descending in brutal symphony ribs, cracking under the onslaught as screams echo unanswered. Supernatural horrors lurk, ghosts of tormented souls haunting the cells, their apparitions driving the living, deeper into delirium, curses weaving through the stone. Life here is a cage of control, where resilience blooms in secret defiance, empowering the voiceless through cunning survival, but the asylum's grip tightens, turning humanity into hollow shells. You endure the asylum's therapies, where kindness yields to cruelty, cold hydrotherapy plunging you into icy baths that shock the system. Water's embrace turning torment as shivers rack your frame. Muscles convulsing in hypothermic agony, the chill biting deeper than any blade. Tranquilizer chairs spin you into nausea, restraints digging into flesh like possessive lovers, hours blurring in disoriented haze. blood rushing to your head in pounding waves. Force-feeding tubes snake down throats, gagging reflexes, igniting desperate struggles. Orderlies pinning limbs with bruising force bones straining against their grip. Sensuality perverts the ordeal. The waters caress, echoing forbidden touches, but pain dominates. A heated flush of resistance amid the cold. Intrigue shadows the wards, doctors experimenting for prestige, falsifying records to justify horrors, alliances with pharmaceutical interests prolonging suffering for profit. Violence defines the methods, electroconvulsive shocks arcing through bodies, convulsions, cracking vertebrae in savage jerks, screams echoing unanswered. Supernatural dread infuses the air, spirits of broken patients cursing the apparatus, their ghosts haunting the chairs with eternal spins. What begins as cure devolves into punishment, empowering the sadistic, under medical guise marginalizing the afflicted in chains of pseudoscience, resilience forged in defiance's quiet fire, your spirit unbowed amid the asylum's savage symphony. You stand on the windswept steppe, the air charged with the scent of sweat and earth, as Cthulhun, the Mongol princess, declares her audacious vow she will wed only the man who bests her in wrestling, demanding a tribute of horses from each defeated suitor, her body a fortress of muscle and grace, eyes blazing with defiance against patriarchal chains. Crowds gather for the spectacles, warriors from distant clans testing their metal bodies, slamming against hers in heated clashes, grunts echoing as she pins them down, ribs straining under her unyielding grip, blood trickling from split lips in visceral testament to her prowess. Sensuality infuses the bouts, the press of skin in the grapple, a forbidden electricity sparking amid the struggle, her lithe form twisting with raw power that captivates and intimidates. Intrigue swirls in the tents, rivals plotting to undermine her, with whispers of sorcery alliances forming to challenge her father's favour. Violence defines her world opponents, bones cracking in her holds, the steppe's harsh winds carrying cries of defeat. Supernatural lore whispers spirits of ancestral warriors blessing her strength, cursing losers with eternal weakness. Empowering women in a male-dominated empire, her vow collects herds symbolizing independence, resilience embodied in every throw, her legend rising like a storm across the plains, unbowed and unconquered. You are born into the thunder of hooves on the endless steppe, Cthulhun blood of Genghis Khan coursing through your veins like a fierce river, your lineage, a tapestry of conquest and savagery, where ancestors' spirits whisper of empires forged in blood and fire. Your father Kaidu Khan rebels against the fragmenting Mongol realm, his banners raised in defiance against Kublai's distant throne alliances, fracturing in whispers of betrayal as clans clash in brutal skirmishes, swords singing through bone ribs shattering under the weight of charging hordes. Raised amid the clash of steel and the scent of sweat-soaked leather, you learn warfare as a child learns breath-riding bareback at dawn, your thighs gripping the horse's flanks in heated rhythm, arrows flying true to pierce throats in visceral sprays. Sensuality blooms in the training, the press of your body against the saddle, wind caressing your skin like a lover's urgent touch, desire intertwined with the thrill of combat. Intrigue shadows the family tent, spies from rival khans infiltrating with poisoned words, plotting assassinations that demand vigilant blades in the night. Violence defines your youth sparring sessions where fists crack jaws, blood mingling with dirt in savage initiation. Supernatural elements haunt the plains, ancestral ghosts blessing your strikes, cursing foes with eternal unrest. Empowering a princess in a warrior's world, your upbringing forges resilience from rebellion's fire-defying gender's chains, with every defiant step your destiny a storm brewing on the horizon. You charge into the fray on thundering steed Cthulhun, your lance or extension of your will, piercing enemy lines in a whirlwind of chaos, blades clashing with bone-shattering force ribs, caving under your strikes as blood arcs hot and metallic in the air. Capturing foes becomes your art, grappling warriors from horseback, bodies slamming earthward in heated tangles, muscles straining in carnal exertion, their gasps mingling with yours in the dust-choked melee. Earning respect as a general, you command legions with iron voice strategies unfolding like predatory dances, outflanking rivals in ambushes where arrows rain like vengeful spirits, throats slit in silent visceral efficiency. Sensuality ignites in battle's heat, the press of armoured forms in close combat, sweat, slick skin brushing and forbidden intensity, desire, fueling the adrenaline's rush. Intrigue weaves through the ranks, spies whispering betrayals to undermine your command alliances, shifting intents where daggers lurk in shadows. Violence reigns, unflinching enemies' limbs, hacked in sprays of gore, the steppe soaked in the fallen's essence, your prowess a savage symphony. Supernatural dread accompanies your victories, ancestral wraiths empowering your blade, cursing defeated with eternal hauntings. Empowering women amid patriarchal wars, your feats shatter. Expectations, resilience embodied in every conquest, earning grudging admiration from warriors' ears who once doubted your legend carved in the blood of the battlefield. You sense the shifting winds in Kaidu's court, whispers coiling like serpents around the firelit tents. Your father's eyes lingering on you, Cthulhun, with a mix of pride and calculation favouring you as heir, despite the aristocracy's murmurs of dissent, their patriarchal grip tightening against a woman's rule. Succession hangs heavy a prize, laced with peril as nobles plot in shadowed corners alliances, fracturing in betrayals that promise knives in the dark blood spilling warm on silken rugs. Your battlefield triumphs fuel the talk enemies captured in heated grapples, bodies pressed in combat's carnal fury, ribs yielding under your unyielding strength, but tradition balks men, fearing your empowerment shatters their fragile dominance. Sensuality stirs in the tension, admiring glances from warriors, a forbidden heat in their eyes, as you command desire mingling with respect in stolen moments. Intrigue defines the court spies weaving false tales to discredit you, potions slipped into chalices to weaken your resolve. Violence looms imminent challenges, escalating to duels where blades sing through flesh bones, cracking in savage clashes. Supernatural omens haunt the deliberations, shamanic visions of ancestral spirits endorsing your claim or cursing rivals with eternal unrest if they oppose. Resilience embodies your stance, defying gender's chains, your potential as ruler, a beacon for marginalised voices, yet the whispers grow louder, a storm of opposition brewing on the steppe's horizon. You feel the poison of slander seep through the camps, Cthulhun, accusations of sorcery, painting you as a witch who bewitches men in the wrestling ring. Their defeats not from your prowess, but dark spells, whispers escalating to claims of unnatural bonds with your father, incestuous shadows tainting your legacy to erode support. Rumours spread like wildfire across the steppe, fueled by envious rivals, their words sharp as daggers aimed at your heart, alliances crumbling as clans hesitate, betrayals from sting in every sidelong glance. Sensuality twists in the attacks, tales of your body as a seductive trap, luring warriors to defeat with heated grapples that ignite, forbidden desires skin brushing in combat's intimate fury. Intrigue thrives in the sabotage spies forging letters of conspiracy potions in your water to dull your edge plots hatching in moonlit tents. Violence erupts in confrontations, assassins lunging with blades, bones cracking in defensive struggles, blood hot on the earth as you fend off the onslaught. Supernatural elements amplify the dread shamans invoking curses against your accusers, ancestral wraiths haunting those who slander their ghostly forms, whispering eternal torment. Empowering defiance amid the storm, you rise above the filth resilience forged in the fire of false words, marginalizing the weak-minded, while your true strength shines the attacks, only sharpening your resolve on the path to legend. You navigate the tempest of Kaidu's court, Cthulhun, where succession brews like a gathering storm. Your father's hesitation, a thunderclap of indecision, fearing your ascension, as a woman would splinter the Khanate clans, erupting in rivalries that threaten to tear the empire asunder with blades drawn in shadowed tents. Political winds howl with division alliances fracturing as nobles whisper of civil war, their reluctance rooted in patriarchal dread, unwilling to bow to your command despite your battlefield triumphs, where enemies fell in heated clashes, bodies entangled in carnal fury of combat. Sensuality stirs amid the chaos, admiring warriors' gazes, lingering on your form, a forbidden heat in their loyalty, desire, clatching with duty and stolen glances. Intrigue dominates the intrigue spies, sowing discord with forged missives, potions in wine cups to sway minds, betrayals unfolding in knife-flashing ambushes under starless skies. Violence threatens eruption duels, challenging your right bones, cracking in savage grapples, blood soaking the earth in ritual combat. Supernatural omens darken the horizon, shamans divining fractured futures, ancestral spirits cursing those who oppose your rise with eternal unrest.